Welcome to Worldwide Hippies News and Stuff for the week of March 21st. I am Winston Smith. First, Japan. 6 nuclear reactors, some emitting large amounts of radioactive particles into the jet stream, are still out of control. Possibly they are getting much worse. Radiation is showing up in Japan's food supply now and in its drinking water. How events will affect the United States is yet to be seen, but scientists agree that this is unknown territory and no amount of radiation should be considered safe.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
All U.S. citizens in Japan should continue to carefully monitor the situation and follow the guidance of the U.S. and Japanese governments. Second, I know that many Americans are also worried about the potential risks to the United States.
Paul and Patty know this, and they're always ready to take care of themselves.
So I want to be very clear.
Duck and cover.
We do not expect harmful levels of radiation to reach the United States. Let me repeat that. Harmful levels of radiation to reach the West Coast.
I love you. Now, back to our show.
Oh, well, never mind with that. How about this? Your tax dollars at work. The Pentagon is paying a suspiciously newly created corporation in Los Angeles millions of dollars to develop propaganda software to be unleashed on the internet. Sock Puppet software creates fake online identities and is intended to saturate social media and control its message. If not control, at least confuse it. According to the Guardian newspaper, or the Guardian Online, the project has been likened by web experts to China's attempts to control and restrict free speech on the internet. If used on Americans, this would be a crime, but the Pentagon, caught off guard by the revelation of this program, insists that it will only be used on foreign-speaking people outside of the country. Does anyone notice the pattern from Washington lately? While holding news conferences about internet freedom, we are leading in its demise. It's not wrong to assume that the United States is collecting and then manipulating information on all Americans. The name of the corporation is Nintrepid, or N-T-R-E-P-I-D. Now it's time for the Time and Hunger Revolution report. You won't hear this on mainstream news. Too long a time without justice and too hungry to be afraid anymore. Protests were held in the following. Yemen. Yemeni government has been involved in deliberate crimes against humanity. No surprise there. Using lethal violence against unarmed civilians. In just one action, government snipers killed over 52 unarmed protesters last week, many of the victims having been shot in the head and neck. But their protests are continuing. In Syria, protesters were beaten and gassed as they mourned for the activists that were murdered earlier in the week. Calls for revolution were the response from demonstrators as the violence continued. And in China, unreported demonstrations in Tibet, mainland China, and the government shutdown of the only Tibetan news website permanently caused people to go to the streets. China is still one of the most repressive countries in the world. A virtual corporate news blackout on China's dissidents and crimes against humanity is still in effect, cheered on by the USA. But demonstrations are a daily occurrence in China, believe it. And in Pakistan, massive demonstrations against the US-backed government and the CIA, with the release of the CIA-paid Blackwater Z mercenary Raymond Davis last week and the killing of 50 unarmed tribesmen by CIA drones. Pakistan is moving towards its own revolution, and it's likely, given the United States' support of the government there, to be a bloody one. And in Libya, no-fly zone is in effect. France led the way, but the U.S. seemingly is calling all the shots. The biggest worry that the U.S. has is not Gaddafi, is not the protesters. It is the protesters finding paperwork about U.S. complicity with Gaddafi and multinational in suppressing dissent in the past few years in Libya. If the U.S. puts any boots on the ground, whether it's U.S. troops or any of our allies, they will not be marching towards the protesters, but they will be marching towards the archives. Anti-government demonstrations were also continuing in Morocco, Algeria, India, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, Oman. And in Bahrain, home of the U.S. Fifth Fleet, there was a scene of mass murder as United States ally Saudi Arabia sent in troops. To be noted is the fact that arms and helicopters used in the massacre are U.S. made and part of our ongoing arms sales to many of these illegal governments. But here at home, the time and hunger revolution is growing also. Not that any corporate media will tell you this, but demonstrations were taking place in Tennessee, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Minnesota, Florida, Indiana, Rhode Island, California, and in Washington, D.C. last weekend, demonstrating at the anniversary of the illegal invasion and consequent murder of hundreds of thousands of innocent people in Iraq. Demonstrators were arrested and assaulted, while Obama was pushing job-killing free trade in South America and checking his picks for March Madness. This is madness, I agree. Now here it's time for our Asshole of the Week. This week it's Janet Napolitano. Never missing a chance to keep up the scare, she went on a media blitz last week. Her target was sports fans this time, encouraging American sports fans to watch each other during basketball games this month and report suspicious activities to authorities. Here's what she had to say.
Hi, I'm Janet Napolitano, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security is a team effort, and it starts with individuals and communities around our country.
That's why the NCAA is partnering with DHS to help keep our communities safe. If you see something suspicious on your way into the arena or at the game, say something to local authorities to make it right.
We all have a role to play. Report suspicious activity to local law enforcement.
Thank you for doing your part to help keep our communities safe, and enjoy the game.
Yes, Big Sister's face is popping up all over, from checkout lines in Walmart, mainstream corporate media outlets, and public announcements. The real message from this purveyor of hate is, watch each other, not us, the U.S. government. This propaganda whore pulls in a hefty check for her subversive work, and she seems to truly enjoy the role as the Goebbels of America. And for that, she is our Asshole of the Week. And that's it for Worldwide Hippies News and Stuff for this week. Thank everybody for commenting on our Facebook page and on our site. Please pass along all of our posts and tell your friends about Worldwide Hippies. We are looking for reporters and bureau chiefs to give us reports from all over the world. We're looking for people who want to get more active at Worldwide Hippies. You can contact myself at joe@worldwidehippies.com or dre@worldwidehippies.com. Plenty of work to do and no pay. Anyway, I hope you all have a good week, and we will see you next Monday.